What is up, you guys? This is MiniSuperHeroes Today.
Hey guys, Jonathan here, and today we're taking an early look at the LEGO Sanctum Sanctorum. Well, this thing is pretty crazy, and I'm very grateful to LEGO having sent it to me early, but of course, all thoughts in this video are my own. Now, this set comes out on August 1st, 2022, and will retail for $250, where it will be a LEGO store exclusive. It comes with 9 minifigures total, almost all of which are exclusive, and it has 2,700 pieces. This thing is massive, and of course, the big question is, how does it hold up compared to the Daily Bugle, which came out in 2021? We're going to answer that and more in this video. Before we get into breaking down the set itself, I want to talk about the instruction books. There are 3, one for each floor of the building, and it's really cool. On the back, they've got these portals to the different locations shown in the first Doctor Strange. Look at the Lego footprint since they have square feet. Really, really cool stuff. But the kind of unspoken thing about it is because there are 3 books, technically you could make this like a family project where each person works on one floor, or it could be a good date night project if, you and your significant other want to build it, or like if you have siblings, one brother can build one floor while a sister works on another. I did think that these images up here showing the sketches for the minifigures were quite cool. And of course, there's all kinds of great breakdowns and Easter eggs in the front here talking about the designing of the set. Really, really cool stuff. But of course, let's prepare for the magic and get into the set review itself. So as you guys know, I like to start off my reviews by taking a look at the minifigures, and up first we have Multiverse of Madness Doctor Strange. This is the exact same figure that came in the regular Multiverse of Madness set, so unfortunately he is the sole minifig in this set that is not exclusive, but of course the cape can be removed, he's got printing on the back, he's got a kind of smug look on one side and then a bit of a smirk on the other side. I do think that one thing LEGO could have done would be to give him a regular head that has the third eye. Of course, I made a custom using some paint pens for that, and our next Doctor Strange actually has the third eye printed, but that's Sinister Strange, and this could have been a good way to show that from the post-credits scene. So yeah, let's keep moving on with the figures. So here we have Sinister Strange, a really great figure, but I do think it fell short on the hair. If you guys remember a few years ago, the Percival Graves minifigure used this same hairpiece, but he had some gray on the sides, and I can't quite remember if Sinister Strange had some gray, but that would have been a nice little touch. Anyways, the figure itself is pretty nice with that kind of off-colored head. It's the same skin tone that Palpatine has, so that's kind of interesting. He's got a little smirk on this side, and then a bit more of an angry face with his third eye on that side. The torso is new and exclusive, but the legs are actually the exact same legs from the regular Doctor Strange. LEGO just repurposed them for this figure. Just kind of cool, and I guess it's a good example of work smarter, not harder. Here we have Zombie Strange, a really nice figure with that cool ponytail piece, and I really like the way that the torso is all kind of like beat up and zombified. In fact, the whole figure is zombified, and I like that a lot. The head is really cool with kind of like the decaying by the mouth there, just like we saw in the movie. And if we lift the hair up, you can see he's actually got some decay spots on the back of his head as well. Definitely a very cool figure. I just wish he had some arm printing, but there's really no characters in this set with arm printing except for SpiderMan, who we'll get to shortly. Here we have Ebony Maw, who only ever appeared in one other set, ironically, the Sanctum Sanctorum from Infinity War in 2018, and it's a really nice looking figure this time around. Let's compare him to that original minifigure though, and over the years they lost the leg printing. I thought the leg printing looked great on that original one, and they completely changed the skin tone of the head. On the original one, it's kind of like this ghastly bluish green color, and now it's gray. I'm not really sure which one I like better because the gray is definitely more movie accurate, but I like the face printing on the original one much better, so I wish there was a way to squish them together and put this face printing on this color head, but until then, this is what we've got. Here we have Master Mordo from Multiverse of Madness, who debuts a brand new hairpiece, and man, this hairpiece would be absolutely perfect for a Heimdall custom, but unfortunately the embargo for this video was after my Thor Love and Thunder showcase where I showed you how to make customs, so we'll just have to use our imaginations. Anyways, the hairpiece is brand new for this figure, and the head is brand new as well. We've got kind of a stern face on this side, and a bit more of a confident smirk on this side. The cape is a new new piece in this olive green, which is a really nice piece as far as the color is concerned. And the torso is brand new as well, with no printing on the legs. And if we lift the cape up, there is a little bit of printing on the back of the torso as well. Definitely a great figure and an awesome inclusion, but it would have been nice to get some leg printing or even dull molded legs for the price of this set. Up next is Wang, and this is based off of his Infinity War look, and it's just a decent figure. Now, the head, of course, is the head that's been used on the last couple Wang figures, but the torso is new and there's no printing on the legs. But we've got to compare it to the 2018 version of Wang from the Bricktober exclusive pack, and man, what a downgrade the new one is. The original one had dual molded legs with printing on the legs, a slightly more printed torso, and it's just a better figure all around. Unfortunately, Wang is probably the biggest L in this set, but it's a nice figure if you don't have this one, but if you do have this one, it's definitely a downgrade. Scarlet Witch is up next, and she uses the hair mold from the CMF Scarlet Witch, but this time it's got some printing on there. The printing looks really, really nice, and something that was interesting to me is if you lift that up, she actually has a new head. A slightly raised eyebrow on this side, and some angry eyes on this side gives us a new option for Wanda, and of course the torso printing is new too. This is based off of her Multiverse of Madness look, where the shoulders are not exposed as compared to the WandaVision version where her shoulders are exposed, and she has red arms this time instead of the dual molded arms that came on the CMF. Technically, in the movie, her red arms do have some, like, piping and printing on them, which is missing here, but overall, I think it is a pretty nice figure, and that new printing on the crown piece is actually a really nice upgrade. Here we have Infinity War Iron Man, which uses the new 2020 helmet mold, and this is actually a new figure, especially when compared to the previous Infinity War Iron Man. If you take a look, the arc reactor on this new one has a little bit more of like a star emblem in the center, and there are some minor differences with the printing on the torso and legs. They're kind of difficult to point out, but when you see them up close side by side, you can see that there are just some slight differences in the shading, the coloring. They're very, very close, but they are different. Let's flip them around to the back to see that these are pretty similar as well, but it does appear that there are some slight differences between the two, but not really anything like super, super crazy. Anyways, both figures look really great, but I do prefer the old helmet to the new one. There we can lift the helmet up and see Tony's tech face on one side and his regular head on the other. Nothing out of the ordinary for LEGO Marvel, but overall, both figures are great. The new one, I do like the torso and leg printing a lot, but I don't like the new helmet, so unfortunately, it's kind of a toss-up for which one I like better. And now the figure we've all been waiting for is Spider-Man. Now this is based off of his Civil War suit, his Homecoming suit, as well as the one he wears briefly in Infinity War. It's a new figure, and I'll show you the old one so we could do a side-by-side comparison, but he's got printed arms, printed dual molded legs, and the head is the same head that's been used on Spider-Man in the No Way Home sets, the CMF, and so on. Now for the big reveal, here they are side by side. So again, the biggest differences, of course, are the leg printing, where the new one has some toe printing right up front there. Otherwise, they are pretty similar, although I do think that the printing sticks out a little bit more on the new one. As far as the arms are concerned, they're pretty similar, but there's a little bit more black printing on the new one compared to the old one. The old one has like kind of thinner webs, where the new one has big black bands and actually less webs than the original one, so I could see some people really liking that and others not. The torsos themselves are pretty darn similar, but you can see like the web canisters are slightly different. When we flip it around the backs are almost identical as well, except the new one doesn't have those black bands off to the side, and, you know, there are just some slight differences, but they are quite close. So both are really, really cool, and I do really like the new one, but unfortunately, I don't really think that the new one is quite as new as we thought based off of, like, the box images, so it's definitely cool, and I do think it's slightly better, but it's not as quote-unquote new as I think I was expecting it to be. So I'm not disappointed, it's just different, I suppose. In order to review the set, I actually want to take it floor by floor, but let's talk about the build process overall. Like I said, it was broken up into 3 books, so it was really fun to be able to, like, come around and build it a little bit one night and build it again the next night, so it was definitely a nice build to break up. But unfortunately, one thing that drives me up a wall is all of this dead space in the back. I really was expecting it to be able to come all the way to the end, and I just feel like these 6 studs here are so much wasted real estate that when we look at the inside, I think you'll agree with me that I wish it was deeper because it's very cramped on the inside. It's not to say it's a bad thing, but with all that space in the back, there's really no reason that it needs to be as cramped as it is. So with that being said, let's head in the front doors and check this out. So let's start off looking at the ground floor. These trees up front are really cool, and I like how easily they're knocked over, so, that could almost be a play feature, even if it's not necessarily intended to be. As we move up, you can see that there are stickers on the front doors, both of which open inward, just like the movies, and we've got a little 177A right there, which of course is a reference to the real-world location, and the location that's used in the movies and the comics. I really like the way that this contours. It's got a very unique build for a modular, and it was really fun to build. We'll take a look inside in a second, but this entire section right here was one built piece. It's kind of hard to explain, but again, we'll get to it when we get inside. Taking a look on the outside, we've got this 177A Bleecker Street card here, which is a reference to the card that Thor has in Ragnarok when he comes to the Sanctum with Loki. Over here, we've got a little paper for the Law Times. Man, how I wish that was the Daily Bugle, but I'm guessing that there's some kind of dispute, like that they can't put the Daily Bugle in a Marvel set because of Sony or something, and since this is an MCU set, I don't know, I'm just speculating. Anyways, it says grab the latest, and on this side, there's a little Black Widow emblem sticker there, kind of interesting. If we open it up, there are some newspapers in there, but there aren't any Easter eggs on said newspapers, so that's that. Let's move over here. You can see that there's a little door that says keep out. In fact, we can open that door and see inside, but we'll take a closer look inside in just a minute. Like I said, we're really just going around the outside here. If we take a look in the trash can here, there's an Easter egg in there that we'll get to in a minute. Speaking of Easter eggs, on the back here, we've got a Feeling Hungry Shawarma King, ad there, referencing the first Avengers movie in 2012. We've got an ad for Darcy's Dog Walk, referring to Darcy from Thor, but it's a little weird that she went from, working on that astrophysical project in WandaVision to walking dogs. Times must be tough, I guess. Then we've also got a Join Us at S.H.I.E.L.D. thing here with Nick Fury and a G Heart A. I'm not sure what that means, but if you guys picked up on that Easter egg instead of me, let me know. On the back here, we've got this little portal, which of course is kind of like the sling ring portal, which allows you to get inside. And inside, we've got the little library from the first Doctor Strange with the Darkhold book back there, which is quite cool. It's a little bit tricky to get to, but this entire floor piece up top lifts up, and it'll help us get in there. So as we're moving on to the interior, let's just take a look. You can see that there are holes right here and pegs right here for this to connect to other modulars, and that brings us right back to the front. So as promised, I told you guys what would be in the trash can, and that is this Shady Acres Care Home sign. If you guys remember, that is the sign for the care home where Odin is at, or rather was, when Thor and Loki go to look for him in Ragnarok. There's also a few Infinity Stones in there, and a blue soda can. Pretty wild. I actually had to look that reference up. I didn't remember it. So this door opens up, the keep out door, and it leads you to this kind of back room in the sanctum. We've got a little AV wiring piece here for like the Wi-Fi or the TV or whatever the case may be. Then we've also got this little like stand here with some relics and stuff, kind of referencing No Way Home if you ask me. That kind of looks like the, stuff that we saw in the background of No Way Home. Speaking of No Way Home, we've also got like a fridge here, which if you remember, Ned opens a fridge in the basement of the sanctum. We've got a I Brick NYC sticker right there, as well as a karaoke flyer, because Wang goes to karaoke with Shang-Chi in Shang-Chi, and we've got a little creme brulee sticker on there as well. Both doors on the fridge open up, so up top we've got a little freezer, and underneath we've got some takeout, and some of my favorite references in the entire set are the Hulk and Iron Man ice creams there, referencing the ice cream that Doctor Strange talks about in Infinity War. We've also got a little takeout that says mine. I'm assuming Wong wrote that. And we've got a half-eaten apple there, which references the apple that Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone on when he's practicing in the first Doctor Strange movie. While we've got the fridge out, the fridge goes right there, you can see that there's a little Tesseract hiding underneath the steps, referencing when Bruce Banner crashes through the steps in Infinity War. Unfortunately, the steps are not removable, but let's flash back to when I was building it so I can show you a better angle of what that inside looked like. On the ground floor here, underneath where the steps are, you can see that there's like some debris where the Tesseract is, which of course is referencing the Hulk, where he lands and crashes through the steps. But unfortunately, by the time you build this up, you're not going to be able to access that area, so I thought I'd show it to you here now. Alright, so the fridge is back in place, and again, guys, look at how much space is wasted on these 6 studs back here. The thing is, when you close these doors, there's barely any space from the doors to the steps, and as we see in the movie, there's definitely more space than this Lego set allows for. So it's definitely a bummer that, like, all of this space back here is kind of wasted, if I could be honest. If this wall came all the way back, think how much deeper this could be, and even my hand has trouble reaching in there, so it's not going to be a very awesome play set as it is a display set, just because it's kind of hard to get your hand in and reach around inside the sanctum. So over on this wall, we've got a little print of Doctor Strange doing something cosmic there. We've also got a very cool little map on the wall referencing where all of the sanctums are around the world, but they use those little red dots for the key, and the red does not show up on the brown very well, so it's a little bit tricky to see. To the left of the steps, we've got just a little wall right here, nothing too special, but we also have the Cauldron of the Cosmos, which Doctor Strange talks to Tony Stark about in the Infinity War scene where they're all there together, and we also have a very cool little globe piece there, and the globe is actually printed on a head, like a minifigure head, so that's kind of interesting in its own right, too. I really like that the steps have studs in the middle so that you could have the minifigs walk down the steps. That's a very cool touch, and the hand railing is a very awesome touch as well. It's pretty ingenious how they use those pipe and bar pieces to put the handrails on there and make it pretty darn movie accurate. In the corner, we've got a grandfather clock, which I think is a cool reference to Doctor Strange dealing so much with time in his movies. We've got the fireplace down there, which he ignites the fire in No Way Home. We've got a little picture on the wall of Strange, like, all huddled up with Wang out in the snowy area somewhere. You could even see there's a little portal there leading back to the steps of the sanctum. We've got just a picture up top here. I don't really know what that's referencing up top, but we do have Doctor Strange's medical degree there and a big green chair right in the corner. And like I said, this whole section, you can see it's kind of protruded from the wall and moves. That was all built on its own, and that was actually a pretty ingenious way to get that angle built into the side of the sanctum. So there's one more piece to talk about, and it's this large flooring piece, which actually fits in right here and covers up that area in the back. So that's quite cool that, you know, the minifigures can walk up these steps. Then there's a couple more steps that will lead us to the second floor, and there's kind of like a little crawl space area here as well with a travel guide. We've got a box of Wang's secret stuff that's taped up, and kind of sad, we've got his, like, pocket watch here that he has in the movies, and a little x-ray of his broken hand from the first Doctor Strange. For some continuity between the other sets, we've got the Storm Baker's Pizza, which we first got a sticker for in Bro Thor's New Asgard in the Infinity Saga wave. Pretty awesome. Before we get to the conclusion of the first floor, we've got to take a look at this area here. This is kind of like an amalgamation of lots of parts from the first Doctor Strange movie. Of course, we've got like the time stone right there, and we've got the library book behind this gold chain. And if we open that up, you can see that the book comes out. And if we take a look, the book opens up and there's pages inside. And of course, one of these pages is the one that Caecilius steals in Doctor Strange that is kind of the whole plot of that movie. I also like the sticker right up here that shows how a minifigure can walk on the discs, like the magic discs that Doctor Strange can cast. And yeah, that's that little room here. We're going to come back to this room in a little bit in the review, but let's get up to the second floor after I show you what goes right here. So now we're on the second floor exterior. This is a really, really awesome area and probably my favorite section of the exterior just because I love how they integrated this little circular piece in there and the windows look awesome too. Once again, this kind of triangular side of the building looks really great right here, and there are some pegs sticking out that we can use for several different figures. Now the box shows us that, you know, you can put like Scarlet Witch running along the buildings here, but admittedly, you could also have Spider-Man kind of crawling up the walls just like that. And it comes with 2 of these flying pieces, which are meant to go right here, so you could kind of have, like, Iron Man flying onto the scene or whatever, and you could also use them down at the bottom, like right here, to have Iron Man flying by. So lots of different options, but yeah, that's that side of the building. That brings us to the back, where we have more studs for more battles, should you choose to do them. One of the cool things here is this sticker right here. Now, there's a couple different Easter eggs here. We've got SNG and BCR. I'm guessing that those are designers of the set, but honestly, I don't know. The biggest Easter egg here is the 10 rings, of course, from Iron Man and now Shang-Chi. Very, very cool. And we've got a little spider web there, too, which is an Easter egg to Spider-Man. You'll see that back here, we've got these cool little sliding pieces. You'll want to keep that in mind for when we get inside the building, but I just want to show you the functionality while we're looking at it here. And probably the craziest of all the exteriors is Gargantos coming out of the portal. Now, you can move his tentacles around any which way you want, and I like, too, that there are these little studs here so that you could put, like, Doctor Strange. I have to move this tentacle, but you could put like Doctor Strange here fighting them, or you could use this piece that protrudes out from the wall and have Doctor Strange fighting this way. So I think that that's a pretty cool way to add in a play feature, and something that totally blows my mind is that you can open the Gargantos portal and move it on the inside and it still fits, so Gargantos can attack inside the Sanctum. Speaking of inside, let's take a look at that now. Now, this to me is where the set kind of starts to fall apart as the interior is concerned. There should be so much more space here for being able to play, and look how my hand takes up like most of the inside. Now, I get it. This set is $250. It's not necessarily aimed at kids, but I just wish that there was more display space inside, and I just keep looking at those 6 studs in the back and thinking, why, oh, why does this not go all the way to the back? Anyways, no use crying over spilled milk. Let's take a look at the inside. We've got these books on the shelf here. If you look down there, there's an anger management book by Bruce Banner. You can see the Hulk's outline on there. There's a magic book there, and then we have another couple printed ones, Magic ABC, and a little magic wand down there. The rest of the books are just brick built, so that's that. We've got the little apple spell here, which of course is kind of like the time spell that Doctor Strange uses in the first movie. We've got a picture of the Ancient One on the wall over here, and Caecilius. This is our first real Lego Caecilius mock-up, although it's just kind of more of a sketch than anything. As promised, I told you that you could actually have Gargantos attack the inside of the Sanctum, which is crazy. And then just to show you again, you can lift him out and put him in like this. Now, something interesting that we'll revisit in a little bit, though, is that all of these pieces are actually quite interchangeable. So remember this piece from the back, you can actually put this here if you wanted as well. So yeah, just kind of interesting that they're all interchangeable. Speaking of things that are interchangeable, we've got this little Sanctum door here, which you'll remember from the first Doctor Strange, kind of had some portals to other areas or other dimensions in this case. We've got a very Jack Kirby-inspired art piece back there, kind of showing like another stud dimension. See all those studs floating around in there? Pretty cool. Now, remember those air conditioner pieces I talked about back here? Look what happens when you move those. It actually changes the background. So here we've got like some Himalayan mountains, and if we move the other one over, we've got like some sandy dunes. Now, don't make the mistake I made. I actually put the sand sticker too far to the right. Make sure if you get this set that you put it all the way to the left so that it lines up the correct way. I messed that up, and I'm going to pay for it for the rest of my life owning this set. Moving on with some Easter eggs, we've got Shambhala up top, which is a reference to the first Doctor Strange. That's the Wi-Fi password. We've got a skull and some kind of trinket up there. Another great reference are these 2 chairs and the beer with the foam on top of it there. Of course, referencing Doctor Strange and Thor's conversation in Thor Ragnarok. Quite cool. Let's see, we've got a little trinket up here. We've got a little potion there. And really, that's about it for the second floor. So yeah, let's move up to the 3rd floor now. So we'll talk about the 3rd floor and the roof in one go, since the camera can be set up for both. I really love this printed piece here with the Sanctum window, and when we look at the inside, you'll see how ingenious it is, how they got the framing of it for the like window frame to lean back, but for this to be straight up. It's pretty ingenious. All of these very cool sand green pieces look awesome. I love the way that they got the triangular side to kind of come together right here. And overall, it just looks really great. Now, we've got a great Easter egg on the back here, and this part of the wall is removable. So we've got a big sticker here, a new exhibit at the Brixtonian Museum, New York, Captain America, the living legend and symbol of courage. Now, this picture may, instill some memories in you, because this was actually a pose that Chris Evans did for the first Avenger. This was like a theatrical poster. I also like that we've got his first ever Captain America shield behind him, as well as the traditional one. The only part that confuses me is, the Brixtonian Museum. He's not really living anymore, or at least we're led to believe that Steve Rogers is no longer with us. If you don't want that displayed for some reason, you could put the wall in right there. And, crazy enough, our old friend Gargantos can come back around and he can fit in here as well. And, if you can believe it, they molded it in such a way that you can actually have Gargantos attack the inside as well. His tentacles may not be in the right position, but it can be done. So I'll show you that here in just a second. Anyways, up on the rooftop, we don't have too much detail here. We do have some nice, potted, plants and things like that, which we see in the background of Endgame when Bruce Banner's on the rooftop with the Ancient One. But overall, it's just an awesome, awesome looking exterior. So let's see how the interior holds up. So the roof lifts off just like that, and then we're on the interior. And finally, that brings us to the third floor. Now, as promised, Gargantos can actually attack the inside if you position his tentacles right, but we're actually going to remove that back wall because it's easier to see inside without it there. So starting over here, we've actually got an image of Doctor Strange and Wang fighting Gargantos. Now, if it were me, I don't know if I would need a picture of me fighting a horrific monster hanging up in my house, but hey, that's just me. Over here, we've got a Thor Ragnarok reference with the little umbrella there, which you'll remember from Ragnarok. Thor gets Mjolnir turned into an umbrella. We've got a pretty cool helmet right here. It's a piece that I've never seen before. I like that a lot. And perhaps one of my favorite Easter eggs in the whole set is this little case that has a fire hydrant inside. For some reason, ever since 2012, Marvel has loved to hide fire hydrants in their Lego Marvel sets, so they've got it on display here. That's pretty awesome. Now, over here, we've got some pictures on both sides of the wall. Over here, we have Mordo with the, Eye of Agamotto. And on this side, we have the Ancient One. I believe that's the Ancient One. Kind of hard to tell. Might be Wang. I'm not sure. Anyways, we've got a gold staff in the corner there. We've got a red and gold staff there. And like I said, look how ingenious it is how they got the wall to be angled thanks to these blue Technic pieces holding it. But then these little droid arms keep the window straight up. It's really ingenious. Now, as we know in the movie, the steps kind of lead up this way, but just based on the way that the set is built, there are no steps that lead there. It's kind of disappointing, but it's not really the end of the world. So we've got this little chest here, which when we open it up, there's a little scroll piece inside. If we flip over here, we've got a little lantern piece sitting on this table. We've also got a little showcase here. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, if it's supposed to be anything. Got a spear on the wall. We've got some, Asian-looking weapons over here. Some, ancient Asia-looking weapons. We've got a black skeleton here, a little goblet, and a helmet with a hot dog in the center. That's a little odd to me, but overall, the inside of the third floor is really cool, and I love all the Easter eggs they packed into it. But with that, guys, that brings us to the end of looking at all the different floors. So there's one more thing I want to show you, and then we'll zoom out and wrap this up. So I showed you how Gargantos fit up here, but the last thing I wanted to show you is that these pieces are interchangeable as well. So you could have a portal going to the top floor, and if you, change the way that the cap piece is, you could just put that right there, and you could have the cap one right there, which I think that actually fits pretty well at the ground floor. But I just wanted to show you guys that before we zoomed out and I gave you my final thoughts. Well guys, with that being said, we're going to bring this video to a close. I really, really like this, but at the end of the day, all this dead space in the back is enough for it to lose some serious points to the Daily Bugle. So while it's cheaper than the Daily Bugle, and technically it's the best MCU location set ever, I don't think it's as good as the Daily Bugle, but I do highly recommend this set The minifigures are great as we saw, the build is great as we saw, and it came that close to greatness. So in the end, I do recommend this set. I think it's a really good one, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. Drop a comment down below, and stay tuned for more content with this set. I'll be upgrading the figures, I'll be showing you more Easter eggs, and all of that good stuff here in the near future. So stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Well, you've made it to the end of the video. You should hit like and subscribe down below for more LEGO content from me, because I post just about every single day. You'll be up to date on all the latest in LEGO, so why not join my community and hit subscribe now.